What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be talking about something that is massive. This is absolutely massive, and it is something that I've kind of noticed and I didn't really know why. So I've always been talking since Next Gen came out about how I feel like clamps is not as important, how I feel like players aren't holograms anymore, and how I feel in general that players can just stick people better on defense regardless of who it is. For example, when I was playing, say, against someone using Tracy McGrady and I used Kyle Corver, he wasn't able to run through him. And I was kind of wondering what that was. I just thought that they basically went back to 2K19 and basically giving everybody clamps. However, there was a tweet from Wang which kind of sums this up, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because if you guys ever watch me play, I very, very rarely, I switch a lot on defense. People that say I hard off ball, like sit off ball, I straight up don't. I think that is that's even more dumb than playing exclusively on ball. But one of the things that I've liked to do this gen is while in the full court press, on-balling the ball handler, because you're more likely to get a steal from the AI off a long pass than you are if someone tries to throw a touchdown than you are from usering. So I've started usering the ball and realizing that, you know what, once you make contact with the player, it's basically like clamps. And a tweet from Wang kind of summed up what this all ended up being. So somebody tweeted at Wang saying, can we do something to make players actually play on-ball D in MyTEAM? Nothing worse than playing someone who only controls his center. I agree to an extent with that first comment, but I am telling you, if you know what you're doing, someone guarding only using their center is like that's you like to see that. Like, you sometimes like to see that because you know you've won the game off pick and roll. Like, they literally can't guard. But Wang, user control defenders get a much larger boost to defensive impact compared to CPU defenders. They also get more favorable body up resolutions and other things. So it's a big disadvantage to play off ball in MyTEAM. Obviously, Wang is only a developer as far as I'm aware on Next Gen. His Visual Concepts team only made Next Gen. I don't think he's anything to do with current gen. So I'm going to show you guys a game of TTO, and I'm just going to show you guys kind of what that means. So clamps is still a thing. Like, a half clamps player will still get some nice bumps. I'll be the first to say it. A half clamps player will still get nice bumps. But let me go with 3 non-clamps players. Let me put in Kyle Corver because he is the example that I've been using. Because I'm like, Kyle Corver actually plays defense. It's the weirdest thing ever. Let's have a look at Kyle Corver's stats. Let's just check out. No clamps, obviously. 69 perimeter defense, 69 lateral quickness. And then as a big man, let me chuck in the god amongst men himself, Alexei Pokushevsky. 87, isn't it? Yeah. Let's go out with this lineup here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start guarding ball. So I am going to show you guys the animation you create. Like, none of my players have clamps. None of my players have clamps. None of my players can get clamps. But you're going to see some incredible, incredible animations that are triggered by all of them on defense. And I'm telling you, on current gen, this would literally just be a bump and you're by them. No clamps means no defense. And one thing I have, it's going to be very, very hard to show it here because my opponent is highly unlikely going to try run through me. But it's not quite, you can't run through people like you did on Next Gen, but it's super easy to go by off ball. And it's not, their positioning isn't too bad. It's just they don't get the bump animations. The blow by animation itself is not as good on Next Gen. So it's not like you're getting blow bys to the basket. It's not like you're just getting almost like a hook into the blow by. However, the bump animations, there's like no bumping if you off ball. However, if you on ball, you are going to get a legitimate bump animation almost every single time. So playing around, you can kind of see just this right here. Look at that animation. If this was on current gen, I can guarantee you a blow by animation would have been triggered. If I was off balling, I still think I would have stopped him going to the basket, but no way would I have been able to force him out of bounds this easily. Even something like this, Hall of Fame quick first step Brandon Ingram. Yeah, he still managed to just about get by Pokushevsky. Pokushevsky gets a good bump animation there, which actually allows him to play defense like he's a normal human being. And then, one thing also is that you can see right here. if you guys don't make contact, that is one big thing that is a misconception. If you don't make contact, the bumps, the animations don't matter. If you're bad on defense, you're bad on defense. So if you're playing bad on ball, you're still gonna be bad. But if you're playing good on ball, you're gonna be getting animations like that. However, as you guys can see here, I'm off balling. And if this guy didn't do something dumb and stop dribbling, the way you can see the shoulders are, this is literally a layup. So obviously, in this scenario, especially with a non-clamps player, when you are just trying to lock up one-on-one defense, if you are good at it, on ball is the way to go. The bump animation when on balling is real. However, I'm gonna say this right now. It's not the be-all and end-all. It is not the be-all and end-all. If you've got a non-clamps player and you are hard with low lateral quickness, like a Kyle Korver or a Steph Curry or something like that, you're still gonna get cooked on ball or off ball against the best players in the game. But you're going to fare slightly better with an on-ball player or playing on ball. However, if you hard off ball with a bunch of Hall of Fame clamps players, while you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna trigger the same bump animations, you're still gonna play borderline the same defense. So what do I think this whole thing is going to do for 2K? Very little in the way people play. I think that it will drastically reduce the effectiveness of paint sitting, of using your center and sitting in the paint. It will drastically decrease the effectiveness of that. It will also drastically decrease the effectiveness of paint sitting in TTO, which is one of the worst games for doing that. It's a lot more annoying when someone paint sits on you without shooters in TTO, because there'll always be ways of getting around paint sitting in 5v5. Trust me, it's not an effective way to play the game. We've all learned how to beat it, but in TTO, it's very, very not great. So paint sitting in TTO is probably not going to be the way to go because of the way the defense of AI plays. But 2K have also improved the off-ball defense of AI. They get in lanes better than before. They stop making dumb plays. They stop leaving shooters as wide open. Although the way the contest system is, you kind of got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, shooters still will be wide open. These people can green 60s with the better shooters in the game, especially from Limitless. But yeah, it's a case of it's more of a case rather than nerfing off-ball defense. Because I don't think when you've got a bunch of half clamps players, I don't think there's any way of 2K nerfing off-ball defense without breaking the game. I think if they make it so that it's an auto blow-by if someone off-balls, it literally ends up, the meta becomes spamming passes between two players until the player doesn't react quick enough and then blowing by. Like, I genuinely think that if they end up doing what people are asking them to do, which is completely nerf off-ball defense, that it will absolutely break the game. I do not think there is going to be ever a stage where playing off-ball defense is a death sentence. Like, as in, if it's a situation where you're basically you've automatically lost the game, and that's what a lot of people want to see. But I don't see that being viable without the game being completely broken. However, I'm saying this right now. With the way this game has been programmed, the next gen game, it has. I don't believe it's nerfed off-ball defense. I really don't. I still believe off-ball defense is great, especially if you've got the right defenders there. Off-ball defense is still still quite effective. It'll be interesting to see what way the meta goes. People start playing this game competitively. But what 2K have done is buffed on-ball defense. So if you are somebody that wants to play on-ball defense, you're no longer going to be at a major disadvantage. Like in previous years with how bad the AI was, I'm saying this right now. If I saw someone on-balling me, I knew I'd win the game. It didn't matter who it was. If you put Ty against me last year and told Ty he had to guard ball every time, like Ty was 30 points better than me, and I still think I probably beat him if you forced him to play on-ball. Because we all knew how to glitch the AI, break down on-ball. But with the improvements to AI defense, as well as the better animations you trigger playing on ball, I think that if you want to play on ball, it is a perfectly viable tactic. However, this is not going to stop off ball. When we get the great defenders, when we get Hall of Fame clamps players, off ball baiting is still going to be a thing. So if you are the type of person that says on ball is the only way to play defense, anything other than on ball is wrong, then your tactic is going to be viable this year, whereas it wasn't viable previous years. But off-ball is not going to be nerfed, and I think it is literally impossible for 2K to nerf off-ball without breaking the game completely. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So if you are an on-ball player, it's going to be a lot easier for you to play defense. However, if you're one of those people that, if you are an off-ball hater, like there's two different players. There are the on-ball defenders who are going to get a complete buff and are going to love the way this game feels. And then there are the people that see this tweet and think that it's 2K nerfing off-ball, and it's really not. Rather than taking animations away from off-ball players, it's giving extra animations to on-ball players. Like, I'm still pretty confident Hoff Clamps, Michael Jordan with 98 on-ball steal 10s, he's still going to trigger crazy animations like he did last year. I'm almost certain of that. But you're going to trigger a lot more than playing on-ball. And there are definitely, in certain situations, especially the pick and roll on next gen, it is advantageous to on-ball that, especially when the player's coming off the screen. So yeah, that is pretty much it. A couple of clips to show it, and then just kind of like my breakdown of what this new concept is in game. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's robbing. Tyson with the fade, not the hair, my hands rocking. When I link with ball point,